your most exciting project that you would want to do?
My big dreams are in the studio system.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make a huge, super villain prequel movie.
Oh my God, you would crush that.
Like, I love Cruella, what they did with that.
Yes,
right?
you could, oh my God, I could so see you doing that.
Period piece. So I still have those big, John M. Chu, dreams, right? I want to do Wicked. I want to do the big stuff. And I do think those big things will continue, and just all the middle of film is gone. So right now it's how do I get from where I am, which is mid-low tier budget of film, to that with this ring of the ladder being broken right now.
Hi, welcome back to the Be the Train podcast. I'm super excited for our guest today because she is a great friend and she also went to AFI with me and my husband. Her name is Yoko Okumura and she is an amazing female director. She has made some incredible feature films and commercials and a bunch of other things, and we're going to deep dive into all that it takes to be a female director, and this amazing creative world that she lives in. So thank you, Yoko, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Shout out AFI.
Yes.
Everything started.
Yes, I love AFI.
Me too.
So, okay, I always start the podcast by asking this question. What does Be the Train mean to you?
Be the Train means that you always have the power to create opportunities for yourself. Sometimes you hop on other people's trains, and that's a job that people offer you, TV show or a movie that's already kind of happening at a studio. But then if those offers aren't coming in, there's always the opportunity to, again, be your own train, make those opportunities so that it's never stagnant. Just means you have options.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like you are so your own train. And part of why I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. And I'm curious, what are some moments in your life where you felt like things have been stagnant and you have had to create your own opportunities or figure out a way to, jumpstart something?
I think there's two distinct eras, which is again, specifically right out of AFI, right out of film school.
Yeah.
It's people just see you as a film school graduate. You haven't really done anything yet. So that's a really specific moment where I invested in buying equipment and, making sure that I can always be creating something.
Yeah.
Me and our good friend Laura Noxon, we made a documentary series about, women with different, very interesting careers. And, it was just a way to really keep generating and practicing storytelling. And now I feel like I am currently in the second era of how am I going to generate the kind of career that I want in the next phase of my life?
Yeah. And so what are the kinds of things that you feel like you're doing? And I think it's very interesting. First of all, I think you're, a very successful female director, but it's also a very weird time. And I think people are very aware of what a weird time it has been. And I've had just so many friends in different aspects of all creative industries, but specifically film has gotten really crazy in terms of what does it mean? How do we keep building? How do we keep creating? How do we keep... and so I feel like for everyone who's, watching or listening, what are some things that you found yourself being able to do that have re-inspired you or allowed you to feel hope and good when things feel bad?
Yeah, it has been. The last 12 months has been really low on the hope scale recently. And it has been a really active struggle to feel oh, is this industry even going to exist for us, in the way that we were investing in? And honestly, right now, just blind hustle is all I can do. And, connecting with, like-minded creators and just keeping each other motivated. But honestly, it's just, putting blinders on and just focusing on the craft is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I recently took a screenwriting class to just amp up my skills and to because I went to AFI for directing. And so I haven't formally learned the structure of screenwriting and stuff. I've read books and things, but it's always helpful to have a professional really break it down for you.
Yeah.
So investing in my skills so that I can be the best as far as, a storyteller goes, and the craft I can offer and the skill I can offer.
Yeah.
So that I can be one of the people who survives this like purge.
It's a purge. It's a purge. What are we gonna do? I agree with you.
Although this industry's shrinking, so many less opportunities, and it's like, how are we gonna survive and be one of the people who are like still like the go-to in demand people? Because
it's so funny. I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine. This is not hopeful.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say is sad. Are you ready? No, but what we were saying, it's almost like you have one more year to become really fucking famous, or you're done. It's like, it just feels like there's so many pieces of AI that are like and even content. It's so interesting because lately this year I was like, I'm going to work on my social media.
Yeah.
Because like I have like 20,000 followers, which by the way, took a really, really long time to get. And it still doesn't feel like enormous, but I like started to get like brands being like, oh, let me give you something in exchange for a post. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. What if I could actually make money off of this? That would be really great. So I was like, I'm going to invest a lot of time and energy into my social media. But then I'm like looking around and so many people are using AI for their content. And I now have friends whose face, it's not their face. Yeah. It's an AI version of them doing the thing. And now I'm like, what's gonna happen?
What is this even? It's not. And then people who are off camera are creating on camera avatars to be influencers for them, and they just manipulate them to be incredibly aesthetically like drawing and beautiful. Yeah. So where does that leave real people, right? Yeah. When people just can make essentially like animations that are hyper real that can do the influencing for them. So if we're gonna survive the AI apocalypse of the creative industry, we just have to be like undeniable. And like it's always been that way, that we all have to be undeniable.
Yeah.
But it's just on a different scale now, it feels like.
Yeah.
And then again, all we can control is how sharp is our skill, and that we don't give up.
I think that's the hardest part though.
It is, but it's like we don't give up yet, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe in 10 years I'll be like, yeah, it's really fucked and it's really bad and it's really gone. But like, it's the horizon is still unclear.
What do you do on a day? And this is something I struggle with a lot because I have a lot of days. I feel like I mostly wake up every day and show up to the thing I said I was going to do. But then I have days where I'm like, what am I doing?
What's the point?
I'm like, this is just not working at the scale I thought it was going to work, at the pace I thought it was going to work, and it's like, and in those moments, what do you do? Because I think everyone who's trying to be an artist in any way, a creative in any way, has a lot of that self-doubt. And then on top of it, with the world being such a like changing moment, like what do you say to yourself? Or do you give yourself permission to be like, you know what? Today I just get to feel upset and I'll do more tomorrow? Or like, what do you do?
I've been getting a lot better at giving my permission to just be sad and not be productive some days.
Yeah.
Because it's actually giving me a lot more self-trust that, if I let myself have that rest and if I let myself kind of wallow for a second, that naturally I do find myself on the other end as still wanting to genuinely create, and then I don't have to just like force myself with fear and anxiety to create. That took a long time to learn, of like me doing that and then feeling miserable, and and that rest is a part of the process, has been something that I'm trying to implement now. I let myself wallow sometimes because it's real. We're not making this up. This stuff is really threatening the economy of our industry, the longevity of our careers in very real ways. To grieve that and to be scared of that is real, and it's in our bodies, and our bodies, need to be given a safe space to feel like they can actually be optimally creative. So
and what would you say is like the best project you've ever worked on, and why?
The best project I loved my first feature film that I got to make with Blumhouse. It was called Unseen. It's a thriller about two women. And
it was amazing. I loved it. I saw it. Big fan. It was so well done. It was very smart. It was very, there was like a whole element of it that, well, you have to see it. There's a whole element of it that took a lot of thinking for it to work as well as it did. So let's say more.
Yeah. It's about two people in two very different locations over the phone, over FaceTime. So there was a lot of different ways, like we had to be creative about how to make them feel like they're in the same space and how to emotionally connect them. And, that was a project where, it was somebody else being like, hey, we have a script, we think you'd be a good director for it. Like, would you come on board? So that was me getting on someone else's train.
Yeah.
But I got to be the conductor of their train, right?
Yeah.
And I got to really have some freedom to make it my own. I did a lot of rewriting on the original script. I got to cast like two actresses that I love dearly and have become good friends. And, it even though it started off as somebody else's script, I really felt like I was able to make it my own stylistically, narratively, emotionally. So, and I'm really proud and I love the final results. And I think that's like a really, big accomplishment in this industry to feel proud.
It is. And it is very you. Mm-hmm. Like, I think you have a very fun style.
Thanks,
and it's fun to be able to watch something and be like, oh, that's my friend Yoko. Like, you feel that person's energy in the way that the whole thing has been put together.
Yeah,
I think that's very cool because, I think some directors have that and some don't. It's not bad or good. Mm-hmm. It's just some directors like really infuse themselves stylistically.
Yeah.
And then you can like really feel it when you watch it.
I'm glad you felt that and saw that at Unseen. Because I even though I was able to accomplish that in that movie, I actually am quite a chameleon as a director.
Yeah.
So I do television too, right? I do 1 hour dramas like Good Trouble and Bold Type. And those are kind of in the world of that I love to work in, which is like young women and, very stylish shows. But I am quite moldable. And I've always been a very good employee.
Yeah.
Like even if I work at a sandwich shop, I'm just like a very hardworking and like want to do well for them.
Yeah.
So sometimes I actually fear that I lose my style or I lose myself. So again, Unseen feels like a place where I was able to really show myself. So I'm really proud of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so with TV, what would you say is like one of the most fun TV experiences you've had? And what do you feel like is the big difference when people are looking to get into this industry between like TV and directing a feature, for example? Like, how does it feel different as a director? What are the pros and cons? Like, what do you like more or, or like, why, what parts are better in what place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the craft is the same as far as storytelling goes, and you're using the cinematic tools to tell a story. Power hierarchies are different.
Yeah.
And the job as far as like socially is different. A movie, you come in and essentially you are, the creative head. And a TV show, you are entering as a guest into a world that is the showrunner's world.
Yeah.
And there's already been an aesthetic and a visual language that's established by the pilot director and the DP and the whole entire team. So in television, you are a guest. And both are really fulfilling in different ways. Like, I enjoy both equally, because going into TV shows, it really makes you practice learning a cinematic sandbox. And then learn and working and being creative within those parameters, which is a fun and interesting, challenge in its own.
Yeah.
But with a movie, it's really great because you get to just make something brand new and set those looks and set those tones. So, that's the difference, and I've enjoyed both.
Okay, nice. And would you say, has there ever been a moment in your career where you've been like, I might need to do something else?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, the last 12 months, even though I've done TV shows, even though I have a rep.
You just finished a second movie.
I finished a second movie, and I'm in the unions, and I've like, again, like, when we were in grad school, I thought if I have been in the union, have done shows, that I'd be like set and like good, and like working.
Yeah.
Infrastructure and industry's crumbling, and like, so yeah, just even right now, I'm like, do I have to find a new career?
Yeah.
Because even though I've built a real resume and a body of work, the future of it is so unclear. And, you know, specifically television, you know, I think I was lucky to just get in, like, you know, when there was still the bubble of the streaming episodics hadn't quite burst yet. So I just got in, like, right at the pandemic, I got my first episode.
Yeah.
Again, they used to make 25 episode seasons. Now they make 8 episode seasons. And those 8 episodes are done by 4 directors who each do 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So it went from like, oh, there's 25 directing slots to there's 4 directing slots.
Wow.
And if you think about the amount of TV shows that are being made, like, that amount has just decreased significantly as well. So now it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, I've done 6 episodes of television. That should have been an okay amount of TV to, like, get hired regularly.
Yeah.
But now, like, the people who have like 60 credits are the only ones working. It's cray.
That's crazy.
Not the only ones. I have some friends who are working, but, like, it's just really
It's just
tough.
gotten a lot harder.
It's so tough, yeah.
So what can we do? Like, because I'm also, by the way, I'm on the same boat. It's so interesting because we've made 3 feature films. Our last one came out in 250 theaters nationwide.
Yeah.
We sold it to Stars. I wrote it, I produced it, I starred in it. My husband directed it. They had 100% in Rotten Tomatoes at some point, 15 awards. And it's kind of like, in my mind too, when I graduated from AFI, that was it.
That was we're doing the thing.
Like, once you get there, then you did it, and then you're done. And then everyone wants to hire you all the time because you got there. And somehow that's not how it feels at all. And I'm very confused because I'm also trying to figure out, like, what the next steps are. I've gotten into fashion. I'm doing this collaboration with Alice and Olivia.
It's so cool.
I have this podcast. I'm doing, like, all sorts of things. I wrote a book. I mean, I'm like, how do I expand? How do I, like, but it's also like, I don't know how should we be thinking as creatives? Like, any ideas?
Well, what you're mentioning is that we're not just multi-hyphenates within film, but you're multi-hyphenating, like, exponentially out in everything, right? And you're building a personality and a brand. And I think that has been the way, as far as being, you know, somebody who has some sway and who attracts people, who wants to work with them. But again, like, the economics of being an influencer is also, like, out the window right now. Like, I was on TikTok for a little while and investing in time in that, and I got like 50,000 followers, and it's like, but the reward system is breaking. Yeah. And I don't know, because all the ways we used to kind of, again, be the train, like, make, you know, there's been eras of it, right? There's like before AFI, I think, or maybe right around AFI, you know, making a web series and putting it up, and, like, you know, people get TV shows off of that and all this stuff, and, like, self-generate. So, like, the map of self-generation was so much clearer. Yeah. But now it's like, self-generate, then what? And we can't quite answer those questions yet, and it's hard.
Well, what do you think the future, by the way, obviously we don't know the future, but what do you think the future looks like in your mind? Like, when you think about the next 10 years, what do you imagine it's going to look like in terms of creativity?
My most optimistic is that film does not go away. Yeah. But we all have to adjust to the economic realities that it's going to turn into, right? Yeah. I think maybe, like, film as the dominant, you know, high-paid media format may just have to shift, right? Yeah. And I look at things like theater, right? Like, theater used to be like this really the dominant way people got entertainment before film started, and then, you know, silent film was dominant until talkies started. Yeah. So, you know, things like theater still exist because people love it. And I do think that people's love for movies will exist through our lifetimes. But again, like, you know, getting these huge careers and becoming multi-millionaires and becoming a household name, like the Spielbergs and the Nolans, like, I just think that's just going to become even harder and harder and harder as audiences like fracture. Yeah. And, you know, some people still love movies and go see them, so we'll still make them. But some people really, that won't be a part of their lives anymore. And that part is sad.
So one of the things I think could happen, which is really interesting, which I kind of feel like is already happening to some degree, is I think with AI, the people who are famous, I think they're going to license their image. And I think what's going to happen is famous people are going to become like mega famous in the sense that, like, say, for example, you're Scarlett Johansson, right? If you license your image, you could be working on 10, 20 films at the same time, right? Which is like, and I don't know, this is my future analysis. I don't know if it's going to be true or not, but I feel like there's going to be like maybe 30 names that are basically like exploited in this like insane way. And basically those people become like billionaires because they don't even have to show up anymore. They just have to like give their name, give their voice, give their face to whatever it is. Because if you think about it, like even voices, right, with animation, like with AI, you could take someone's voice, use like a little straw of their voice and just like go to town. Do you know what I mean? And so then all of a sudden it makes it so that new emerging people, it's like really hard. But maybe in my most like hopeful version, there's like two subcultures of audience.
Yeah.
Like the ones who watch that and the ones who are like the anti-AI protesters. And they're like, I only want things done by humans or something. I don't know.
I feel like the whole licensing a celebrity's image kind of starts to erode what makes celebrities and certain like high-end products special, which is exclusivity and limited, limited access.
Yeah.
So if like someone who's like Scarlett Johansson is licensing their image and is being in a ton of stuff and it's oversaturated, their value goes down. So like if she is gonna be in movies by licensing herself, like it's gonna be for like, it has to be for like really specific, huge, bespoke projects.
Yeah.
Or else like what's her value anymore? You know, she might get a little bit of money, but then like if she is in a ton of AI slop, like what's the audience's value of seeing her in AI slop, right? So,
that's true too. But then I think about, for example, someone like the Kardashians, who I feel like are everywhere.
Yeah.
Like they're just everywhere. And they're somehow making billions of dollars being everywhere. And their name is on everything.
Yeah, but again, they're a part of the old economy we just came from, which is like, and then they were, you know. So what does it mean when someone didn't make something? You know, even if it's reality TV, like we want to know how people are actually interacting with each other, not like somebody's fictional AI version of their interaction. So I think you're right about the two audiences, but I think it's people who are okay with like TikTok-ish, AI-ish, like, you know, bits of dopamine entertainment.
Yeah, where it's not real.
Like,
I agree with
like,
that.
I'm going to sit down and really take in something a human made is still valuable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think also that there is going to be like a subculture. Like there's going to be the people who have severe ADD and can't watch something for more than 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be the people who are like, I don't even want to have a phone.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's going to be people
totally.
like, my son is 5 years old and he's like, I don't want to ever have a phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love that for you.
Love it. Yeah.
But I can see that actually happening. I can see there being like almost like a rejection of technology for this new generation because we're just so in it.
Yeah, and I think that already exists in the sense of like, you know, things that are mass made at IKEA versus, you know, furniture that's handmade by an artist is much more valuable, right?
Yeah.
And like, so I think that human connection to creation is not going to ever go away, but it's just like this like conglomerate, you know, high income industry might go away, right? And that sucks because we were hoping to enter that. You know, like with work protection and income, like. So that's the Wild West, is like, how are we going to all survive this monetarily?
Yeah.
But I think as an art form, like movies are going to keep going. You know, it's just like, can we actually pay our bills making them? That's the question.
Well, and the other thing too is inflation.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's like.
And it is becoming really, specifically like, I do think indie film is going to have another like resurgence cycle, because full studio films are becoming so expensive to make. That the economy of it isn't making any sense anymore, and like the audience coming in to pay for those products aren't making any sense anymore. So I do think as an art form, peak movies in the future, the next 10 years is going to be independent, and it's going to be made with lower budgets. Like, I think that's inevitable.
What do you think? Because I get this question a lot from a lot of people who are trying to figure out their creative lives here. What do you think about living in LA versus not living in LA? Like, some people are like, should I be like, is it worth the price to live here? And I'm like, I don't know.
So I just engaged in that conversation myself. By last July, I put my apartment into storage.
Okay.
So, and I have been like a bit of a vagabond, and like I'm splitting my time between like Minneapolis, Indiana, and Los Angeles for the last, since July.
Okay.
Because, I was working on this movie for Blumhouse as the director, and they put us on a hiatus in April. And so April through July, a few months there, 3 months, I was like sitting in LA, like burning cash, being like, what am I doing here? Right. Because I'm having meetings with executives and TV shows. They're all on Zoom. I think I had 1 or 2 in-person meetings last year while I was like waiting for the movie to happen. So it's like, why am I burning all this money on an apartment? When all I want to do is sit in a hole and write. Unless I am needed as a director to like actively work. So I answered that question of, do I have to be in LA and pay the LA tax of existing here? As no, I don't. Particularly because I am at a place where like I've done TV, I have reps, I have done movies. Whereas I do think when it's early in your career, community is vital, and community has to be in person. And I've gotten to a place where I can leave for a few months to go do something and come back and re-enter multiple communities.
And people know who you are, and you've already built your community, so you can walk out and come
100%.
back.
So I think if you're just beginning, you do want to be in a community hub like LA or New York or Chicago, but
or maybe a new place like Austin,
or brand new
building a new community.
Build your own thing. But otherwise, if you've already kind of established yourself, you do not have to be in LA.
And I think a lot of people, because I know a lot of people, for example, from Mexico or from other places, where like I've started to feel recently like, if you could be a bigger fish there, that might not be a bad life.
Oh my gosh. 100%.
I'm like,
No, 100%. There's a lot of people who have ties to Asia, like actors, singers, right, who go back to Asia and then they become huge there. Or even specifically Canada. My Blumhouse movie shot in Canada, and like, we had 3 roles that were like, okay, we'll pay to, ship people in from the US. The rest have to be Canadian. So there's so much more work for actors in Canada who can get those like up and coming roles, those smaller roles, and build their resume, whereas here we're shooting somewhere else, so the people who are beginners aren't getting booked. So again, being in Canada is actually more lucrative and have more opportunities for actors than being in LA, unless you're already like a superstar.
I know, I've got 1 year. No.
It's so crazy. In Mexico City, like I actually know a lot of managers and agents who were like, here for years, but they moved to Mexico City, because it's more affordable, and they are a bigger fish in a smaller pond.
And there's a big community there, and now there's a big community being built in Guadalajara.
Oh, cool!
It's really interesting. What would you say is your like not perfect, but like your most exciting project that you would want to do?
I'm still in the middle of really figuring out what that is, because again, just a few years ago, I mean, even now, like my big dreams are in the studio system. I want to make a huge like super villain prequel movie. Like,
oh my God, would crush that.
Like I love Cruella, what they did with that.
Yes,
right?
and you could. Oh my God, I could so see you doing that.
Period piece. So I still have those big, John M. Chu, dreams, right? Like I want to do Wicked. Like I want to do the big stuff, and I do think those big things will continue, and just all the middle of film is gone. So right now it's like, how do I get from where I am, which is like mid-low tier budget of film, to like that with this like ring of the ladder being broken right now, So how do I survive long enough for there to be opportunities, for the next generation to do those big movies.
Yeah.
So those are still my dreams, but again, like I'm finding myself having to like readjust what dreams can be when the infrastructure of the studio system and how you kind of like make yourself up into it is becoming so, I don't know, seems to be in reorder.
Yeah.
So I also have like, I want to make the independent, like my like purely creative independent projects too, and that's also a dream. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
What do you want to do next?
What do I want to do? I am going to do a TEDx talk.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about.
Where's that?
It is going to be on July 26th at UCLA, so you should come.
Very cool.
Around.
Heck yes, that's awesome.
So I'm really excited about that. I'm kind of like in a weird moment in my life. I'm excited and I'm also very confused.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I know I'm good at a lot of things. I know what skills I have. And I'm trying to figure out like what's the most monetizable version of using my skills. Yeah. And it's really hard to know. And in this last year, I recently started getting paid to do like speaking engagements and stuff like that. Which kind of came very naturally because I was doing a lot of panels talking about my movie, and then I had my book, and then all of a sudden people started reaching out. Yeah. And I really enjoy it. But I'm also trying to figure out because, I always want to make movies.
Yeah.
And it's like in my perfect world, I make a lot of money being myself in some capacity, whether that's like being myself doing speaking engagements or being myself with, a book or with fashion, or there's so many versions of me showing up and being myself that I would hope could make a lot of money. And then I would want to always have like my independent feature films that I can just make because I want to.
Yeah.
I'm writing one right now actually about cell phone addiction.
Cool. Okay.
Which I'm really excited about. But it's like, again, it's like, obviously I would love to do it in a bigger way, but I'm starting to have this like realization of like, is that a realistic? I don't want to stop doing it because so crushed on it not being the way I was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm almost like, do I need to reframe it and be like, no, you get to just do it.
Yeah.
But you get to do it maybe in the smaller way. But then the way that real income is coming in is not through there.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And like kind of just like reframing that in my head. Cause like in my initial, 20 something year old thoughts when I graduated from AFI, it was just going to be like, filmmaking was the full-time.
That's what made you the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The full-time job and would pay for everything. And now with 2 kids, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. The expenses, and they're not even teenagers.
Yeah. They're going to want all your stuff when they're older.
Oh my God. It's like, then there's cars and there's college and there's, oh my God, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's a really smart way to, make sure your art and your creative expression never gets, cut off because it's not making money.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's funny that, we chose like the most expensive art form.
I know.
Right? That's hard to just do on your own. But it's powerful because especially with writing, you can always see, it's hard. You can't plan for this to be the thing that's going to make money for you, but there's always a chance. There's always a possibility, right? And I do think being flexible and, and at pivoting and finding successes in different places is going to allow us to survive in the long run.
Yeah.
And not fully quit. I think that the game is not to fully quit, And again, like you're doing is like multi-hyphenate even wider than within film.
I'm like thinking I'm like, how do I branch what I know within like my skill set to like be as wide, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll find different markets, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the film market, but like, your skills can apply and your experiences can apply to different places, again, that might have more money, right? Advertising still has money, and like
brands have money,
brands still have money. So how do we, and they need storytelling, they do. And the thing with the whole AI thing is that I do hear that because everybody's using AI, the more future forward advertising people are like, but AI is making everything sound the same.
Yeah.
In our eyes, we actually need a human to do this for us so that they can overthink AI, and they can be really specific to us rather than kind of general.
Yeah.
So
we want specificity.
We do.
I think that we relate to specificity. And I do think that what AI is doing is creating like broadness in a way that's maybe not like it's harder to connect to.
And even in really small ways, right? Like when AI is just like in our email inbox telling us to like do grammar or write this right. It actually sucks the like individuality of how we write emails, and like even those little things, right? So like it's just kind of like pushing us into the middle. Everybody's being pushed into the middle and generalized. I think something I had to decide for myself after kind of like 12 months of despair and like whirlwind, like what do I do with my life, is that like I have to commit to being a fighter for this industry rather than just being like a victim of its downfall. I have to be like one of the people at the front lines being like, no, we're going to fight to make sure film stays relevant.
Yeah.
We're going to fight to make sure that, we show our value against, all these corporations that wants to use AI in order to like save money.
Yeah.
That like, we engage our audiences and excite them and give them something so profound and beautiful that they want to give us. They can't deny it. They want to see it. They want to be a part of the conversation. They want to be a part of the culture. They want to put their money where their mouth is and like, build. Yeah. And like, that's a much more empowering place to be than like, oh, everything's crumbling and I'm crumbling with it. It's more like, no, even if this ship does sink, I'm going to fight till the bitter end because I love this and we all love this. Yeah.
No, I agree. And it's interesting. My husband, so he has this project called Space Weed. That's a movie. But what he's kind of been doing to fight against all of this is he's been like building a world around it so that it's not just a movie. It's like it's a movie and there's music videos and there's drops and there's merch and there's characters and there's it's like a whole world that you can follow. But obviously, I mean, still it takes money to launch these things, but there's a lot of things that can be done without a lot of money. And so just getting like a whole building beyond the story so that it's, I don't know, and get people's attention.
It's a universe, right? I mean, that's an expanded way of saying that like you're building pre-IP, right? Like people a lot of people make books or write a book or write a comic book that then, it's like popular enough where people want to make a movie off of it or a TV show off of it. So that's just like expanding all the different, again, that's doing a multi-hyphenate of like what this story, what this world can be. And I think that's really smart. And and you see people, right? Like, I don't know, you follow the like horror scene much, but like with Iron Lung, which was like made by a YouTuber. Yeah. And that like got into thousands of, like his audience demanded to see it in theaters. So, and it made a lot of money. Wow. But this man, he had invested years and years and years and years of being a YouTuber. Yeah. And then eventually made a movie and then, then there's an audience for it, right? So I do think, again, like, our dreams from AFI, we have to adjust that. And like, I think I do have to become a YouTuber now, right?
Well, let me ask you a question about that. What do you think about finding your audience? What is a way that we can actually try to find our own audience? Obviously there's social media, but is there anything else we can be doing to be like connecting with our audience? Because I do think more than ever, like our audience is our biggest asset.
Yeah. And I think, there's like big audience and like what social media does is make it easier to find the thousands, the millions, right? But there's, audience is also just like a one individual person. Yeah. So within your community, being, a community leader, what you're doing is just doing speaking engagements, going to schools, talking to students, and then again, going and being part of different communities. And that's what helps, again, being in LA or something, right? Yeah. Is the ground, like boots on the ground community building, audience building, and like fan building, honestly. Yeah. And Yeah, because people really, and I relate to this as a fan, as a person who consumes media.
Yeah.
Meeting people makes me a fan of theirs.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and so the more
and I'm a fan of yours.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of yours.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what's great about social media is that it can just make that a lot faster and like scalable, right? But I think that peer-to-peer engagement is still really important, and you just never know, what that's going to become. So, I still see a lot of value in like, local film festivals and like, actually engaging in those. I think film festivals are hard when they're so far away and you can't go to them.
Yeah, and it's really expensive. Or I always tell people like, apply to a festival you can afford to go to.
Exactly.
Because if not, you're like,
it doesn't matter.
You're like there. Killing yourself to get there, and it might not be worth the money. It's like it has to be something that's worth your money to go, and then you can enjoy yourself there and meet a lot of people.
Yeah. So, I think it's community building, whether it's online or offline. But as far as like, online community building, that's still the question, right? Like with everything changing, right?
There was a story you told me once that I actually tell people all the time that I really love. That was something you were running in a race. And can you just tell that story? Because it was so powerful to me. And I like remind myself of that story a lot when I'm having a moment.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So, again, I was very much like, I grew up like an artist, not an athlete, but I do like to put myself into challenges. And so I like sign up for a 5K during our thesis. Like,
oh, wow.
For some silly reason.
Psycho.
I was like, let me do something hard while I'm doing something hard. So like it feels a little easy. It was psycho. But yeah, I signed up for a 5K, like the LA River 5K, and I was training for it. And again, I finally did the race, and my first race ever. And as I was running, like I kept looking forward and being like, oh my God, look at all these people who are faster than me. Look at all these people who are stronger than me. Look at all these people who are passing me. And I was feeling really bad in the race. But then I'm like, I look behind me and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all these people who are behind me.
Yeah.
And like, all I saw was what's ahead and what I was behind and like where in line I was from this perspective looking forward.
Yeah.
I look behind myself and I'm like, oh my goodness, like look at all these people who I'm the person in front of them.
Yeah.
Right. And so that, engaging in that race was a life lesson that makes me, in my life be like, I'm so behind. I don't have a movie that's been in theaters, blah, blah, blah. Right. There's always something that you feel like you're behind on, but then you look back and not even just literally other people who would kill to have what you already have, but even just like myself a few years ago who would kill to have what I have right now.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny. I was having this conversation with my husband the other day too, because, he can get very flustered or frustrated because he feels very like interrupted from his creative work, because obviously we have 2 kids and we just have so much to manage now. So much more to manage. It's like we have to manage a house, we have to manage 2 kids, we have to manage our schedules. If we want to do anything, we have to manage the nanny schedule. We have to there's so much to just
a lot of admin work.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like an executive assistant like a lot of the time to myself and to my family. And he was feeling like very frustrated and interrupted from his like creative work. And like we had this moment where I was like, we need to just stop and look at everything we have. That's like stuff we wanted. And you know what I'm saying? It's like we wanted all of this. And it's all really beautiful and wonderful. And I mean, knock on wood, we have like 2 beautiful, healthy children that we love, that like, it's like, and we wanted all these things, and here we are, we wanted this house, we wanted to, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so like, instead of getting so flustered or frustrated about it, it's like, let's just embrace how yummy it is that we got these things that we've been wanting to have. And obviously same thing with career, right? It's like, it can feel so overwhelming, but to really sit and look at where you are and what you have been able to achieve and what you've been able to do and where it's so important.
Yeah, I think, I remember, right after graduating, like some of our peers had like already made a feature, and I was just like, I just want to, and like I didn't have a rep yet, and like, I hadn't applied to any of the diversity programs, I hadn't gotten into any of them, and I just remember saying to somebody, like, I just want to be in the game, like, let me just be in the game. I don't care if I'm not getting jobs, I don't care if I'm failing, like, let me just play the game, because I felt like I wasn't even in the arena, right? But now I'm like, I'm in the game and I've won some matches, you know, and like, but it continues to be the battle to keep it going. But that it's easy to forget and get flustered that things aren't going well right now when, you know, but it's so grounding to look back and be like, yeah, this is what you wanted. You know, you're in the game. I'm in the game. Yeah. The game is hard, but this is what I wanted.
The game is hard.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? We don't even have an agent.
Yeah.
We don't even have reps.
Yeah.
Which kind of blows my mind. But it's like, I mean, there's so many ways to do this.
Well, you can be your own agent. You can be your own rep. You know, like it is a more labor. It is more admin.
Yeah.
And, you know, it helps get that kind of external validation. But ultimately, you know, what they're doing is advocating for you and you can advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. No, and I mean, we have a good manager, but it is like, it is crazy how I think at every part of the game, because there's like, it's like a game, but there's levels. Mm-hmm. And every time you unlock a new level, you're just playing a harder game.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're ever fully like settled into the new, I think there's a point where maybe you go, oh, wow, economically things feel good. Mm-hmm. I think there is that point, and I know people who can sit there.
Yeah.
But even at that point where they're sitting in this like, I don't have to worry about money. They still have to worry about all these other things, about the pressure and all the people that they're hiring or that need to work for them, or if the project's going to work, or if it's going to get, you know, canceled, or if they're going to get another one, or if their reputation. There's so many things.
There's so many things. And that's why, like, you know, you see all these incredibly, you know, wealthy people who don't need to work, who are like workaholics, right? Because there's so much more to life and your own self-esteem and your own sense of fulfillment than like the comfort of income.
Yeah.
I'm still in a place where I'm like, I just need the comfort of income.
Yeah.
But I know, if I arrived there, you know, I would be grateful, but I know it'd be like, okay, but I still have to like maintain, you know, relevance.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, and tell us a little bit about
my baby.
Yes, who is this baby?
My
so
tiny
cute.
baby. Her name is Melon.
Hi, Melon.
She's a Senegal parrot, and she's just my tiny little assistant that goes with me everywhere.
She's so cute. So when did you get Melon, and how did you decide to get Melon?
I got Melon 2 years ago when she was 5 months old.
Oh,
so she's still a baby.
She's so cute. She's very well behaved.
She's very well behaved. For a parrot, she's very quiet.
Yeah.
She loves people. She's really, really sweetheart.
Aww.
Yeah. But yeah, I decided to get her. I actually grew up as a cat girl, but I have allergies now, so I can't get cats.
Oh.
And I had a beta fish that I loved, but she died.
Oh.
And so I was like, what green animal can I get?
Green? Can we take her out or no?
She will fly around.
Okay.
I left my treats in there. I mean, we could take her out.
But I'm like, if it's like a whole thing to get her back in. Okay, I'm like, if it's like very easy to just be like, hello, Melon.
If I had her treats with me, we could, but I don't have them with me. Yeah.
Like,
we're talking about you.
She's so
cute.
You
can tell. Aww. Yeah, she's very friendly. But yeah, I just I took her to Toronto with me when we were shooting a movie.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, she had her own pet travel agent because it's so complicated to bring a bird internationally.
Oh, wow.
Because she's like protected by CITES, which is like an international, you know, treaty about
I love that.
protecting birds. So we had to get like all this bureaucracy, all these paperwork, all these like,
oh my God, you're so special,
she's
Melon.
She's a princess for sure. She's very princess. We have like a bedtime routine. Like you have to like cover their bed. Like it's a whole thing.
Oh my God, Melon.
Very non-passive pet to have.
No, that's very cute though. I love that.
Yeah, that's Melon.
Well, thank you for joining us, Melon.
She's very
okay, and my last question is going to be, what piece of advice would you give to anyone who's trying to be a director in this industry today with everything you've learned and know?
You know, my piece of advice for directors still coming up, still hustling, still trying to make it, is to keep making new work, even if it's hard. I know it costs a lot of money, but to keep sharpening your skills. And when things get hard, don't suffer on your own. Talk to your friends, because that will lift you up and give you the power to keep going. But also give yourself grace and rest when you need to, because you know you're not going to solve your problems overnight. You have time. You have time.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then if you want to just tell everyone where they can find you and find your work.
Yes, you can find me at @4Yoko on Instagram and at Director Yoko on TikTok. And my movie is called Unseen, which is on Amazon Prime. And I'm currently making a new movie with Blumhouse that'll be announced soon.
Yay! Very exciting. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yay! This is so fun.